like any action, it depends on the intention here. See, caste census simply means collecting more data, authentic data, and data in itself is neither forward nor backward, good nor bad. It depends on what you want to, what you intend to do with the data. If you want to identify the marginalized groups in a better way, so that more accurate and more efficient policy making can happen, then it's a good step, a forward step. If you want to know how, let's say, even within the OBCs, the different subgroups are faring now economically as a result of several decades of reservations, and you want to use that in a constructive way, the data, then it's a forward step. If you want to build hospitals, schools, and if you want to implement other kinds of welfare measures, affirmative, distributive, based on the caste data, then obviously it's a good thing. Data empowers. On the other hand, if you will use this data to further cement caste identification, then obviously it's a step backward. If you will use this data for electoral gains by targeting particular caste groups concentrated in particular electorates or geographies, then obviously it's a backward thing. If you will say, this kind of data has emerged, and therefore now this kind of emotional mobilization can happen, then that's a backward thing. All in all, since the last caste census happened in 1931, almost been 100 years now, it is prima facie good to obtain data. But the fears are justified. This data might not be put to positive or constructive use. That we have to guard against.
Also, in your point of view, can a caste census help fulfill the vision of Dr. Ambedkar or Mahatma Phule for that matter?
See, obviously, it's a basic rule of any kinds of operations or processes. What is important is measured. That's the rule. What is important is measured. If you want to work on a patient's health, then don't you keep frequently measuring her vital parameters. The doctor says, this kind of checkup every week and show me the reports. Those numbers have to be seen. Similarly, we will want to know how the marginalized groups have done in terms of education, in terms of prosperity, in terms of mobility, in terms of ownership of wealth, in terms of gender equality. We'll want to know these things. So this data should obviously go in that direction, but there are apprehensions. It might be misused, so we have to be careful. Actually, it is because of the apprehensions that this much of hullabaloo that we saw and on the entire political circus that we experienced, all that was there. Because one political side is trying to gain leverage at the cost of the other, and all this is mostly being played out as things in political chess. So these are just moves, and the fear is that the targeted sections might not really benefit out of these moves, and only the political parties might benefit.
So on that, as there is a lot of debate and there is a lot of work that are being carried out saying that some are saying that caste census will further divide the society. Or while others say it's essential for justice. What is your take between the two?
See, it is not essential that it will divide the society. But given how things are, given how our leaders are, given how every bit of information or resource is put only to one kind of use, which is to accumulate more power, it is quite likely that this data will be misused. You see, if something is known about somebody, it is not automatically that thing becomes that person's identity. So the fears regarding identification, they are not something that will spontaneously or naturally or necessarily come true. But the problem happens when you start looking at a person only through this monochromatic lens of caste. Now I know your caste, now I know the caste of your surroundings, now I know how you have done or how you have numerically grown. So I'll accord just one identity to you, and that identity is that of your caste or subcaste or varn or any other kind of divisive identity. Then that's a problem. Otherwise, data is just data. Data is a very neutral, very non-partisan, very secular thing. If I know which background the people in this hall, for example, are coming from, that does not necessarily imply that there is going to be a follow-up process of identification. But that might happen. That is likely to happen. And that is what we are saying that we must watch out against.